What's going on, everybody? Doc from Average Gamer Guys, back yet again, bringing you the best news that we could possibly get. By the time you're seeing this, YAPYAP will be on his way. He is incoming, and he will be released sometime today. Great news! Finally, good. We thought we were going to get it this week. They're delivering on the promise. Not the complete end of the week, although I do expect, as with previous releases, it's going to take some time to populate in the store. So by the time they push it out in the morning and it gets fully populated, some folks may not see YAPYAP potentially until very late on Thursday, which is today, or very early on Friday. So good news, we're getting him. He's out. It's coming out. The patches, the balance changes, those are all on their way. And we got the new DLC leader making his way as well, which is really awesome. So super excited to get out there and test him out and have some fun and enjoy the new leader. But as always, so a couple community notes for you guys. Sketch updated it, and as always, if you're unfamiliar with the update process, essentially what happens is they push out the patch. So you'll get the update first and foremost. That populates usually very quickly, so it allows you to start downloading it, although with everybody having automatic downloads and things like that, typically the download takes a little while to start. They recommend letting it just run in the background. I've had success in the past with pausing it and then restarting it, and sometimes it will take a while to restart, but by doing so, once it does restart, usually it kicks in and will start downloading immediately. People very typically also have the same problem, that if they try to do that, or if they interrupt the download and then restart or try to power cycle their Xbox, what ends up happening is you have to download the entire game, which I don't recommend. It's a big game, 26 gigs. The updates are usually anywhere between 7 and 10 gigabytes. So that's a lot of additional downloading. So be patient with it. I know it's extremely hard to do, especially for a lot of people out there. These are the high points for this game right now, is getting these new leaders, but just keep that in mind. Again, I recommend trying to pause and then start it back up and just let it sit in the background. Eventually it will kick in, I promise you, and once it does that, you'll be good to go. The download will happen. Now, once the download happens, all the patches, all the updates, all the balance changes will be live, but it still takes time for the store to get the actual DLC leader populated. A lot of times what happens is, and this happened to me in the past as well, is you can even see it in the store where you can purchase it, but it takes time for it to filter through for those of you that have a season pass. So just keep that in mind. It's tough. Be patient with the last update with Serena. It took over 24 hours. Usually they were projecting at the beginning when they were doing this anywhere between 4 to 6 hours, I believe. Then they kind of pushed it to 12. Now they're saying it could take up to 24, just based on how it populates through the network. So they should be pushing that out first thing in the morning. So by the time a lot of you are seeing this, it will probably already be rolling in the background. So just hop on your Xboxes and try to get it going, and just be patient. Hopefully it'll populate through the store quickly. So that's the initial news with this video. I also did want to cover, there was balance changes and a lot of patch updates coming with this as well. Now, we did a video a week back or so that covered the high priority things that they were looking at. They refined that list and they sent it out. I'm going to attach the forum post to the description below, so check that out if you want to read through it in its entirety. But I'm going to cover a few of the major things that we're seeing. So Forge's Anvil round was one of the high priority changes that they were looking at. There were no real significant change from the last word we got, but essentially that they're fixing the bug where air units are being caught in the splash zone. They shouldn't be damaged, and then the splash zone is going to be smaller. Additionally, the reavers just were not as effective as they needed to be, being the anti-air unit that they were. There was a weapon bug currently that was making it so that they were doing 50 to 60% less damage than intended. So they're going to fix that. They're also going to decrease the build time on those by 2 seconds. So instead of 20, you're going to see it go down to 18 seconds. Serena's Ice Bearer, the Tundra Bison, and her Cryoblast are getting some additional changes, as well as the Seismic Charge. Seismic Charge, probably the biggest one of these, making it so the shatter radius is going to be decreased by a couple percent, which is significant. Because that's obviously typically what ends up finishing off units, and they felt like that the combination of cryoblast and seismic charge together was just too good of a combo. I think Serena in general was just too good, but I don't know that they're making enough of the changes that we need. I think the Tundra Bison, the only thing that's happening with it is its cryomortar splash radius is being decreased. I think that unit in particular needs to see some more refinement, but only time will tell. We'll see how things go. Other additional important changes, these are some of the things that we didn't exactly cover with the last update. Banished shield generators are now going to escalate in cost. They felt there was too much of a significant advantage in terms of protecting the base. So similarly, you're not going to get as effective use out of shield generators. Anti-vehicle units, which is primarily focused on Cyclops and Hunters, their damage multiplier values are going to change, specific to Tier 2 and Tier 3 heavy vehicle units. So Tier 2, if you're not familiar, is Warthogs, Flamehogs, Mantises, and Marauders. That's going to be decreased greatly by a total of 31%. And then the damage multiplier for them against Tier 3, which is your Scorpions, Wraiths, Colossi, and Grizzlies, are going to be increased by 7%. So some adjustment here to the anti-vehicle units. They felt that Tier 2 vehicles just were not getting the love that they needed to. They were being crushed too quickly and not seeing enough play. Warthog, additionally, they're changing the population cap on that. So it's going from 4 to 3. They thought it was just too high for the tier of vehicle that it was at. And then that will not affect the Flamehog, though. So that's an important note. Additionally, they're making some adjustments to the economy. They want to see a higher pump out from supply pads when you have third and fourth bases. So the result is that your income from your third and fourth base is going to be noticeably higher, while your income from the first two bases with supply pads that you have is going to remain basically unchanged. They're also changing the energy from on-map energy capture points, which is going to be slightly reduced from 2 per second to 1.5 per second. The changes here significant to the fact that they felt with a player with 2 bases could hold out against a player with 3 or 4 bases just based on the economy standpoint. And they also felt that the energy capture, if you were to get too far behind at the early game, say you didn't focus on the energy points enough, that you might not have the capability to catch up. So I think they're just making some economy balances here to even things out over the course of the game. Additionally, there's a bunch of leader updates, typically for specific powers. Isabel's Hollow Decoy is getting some work. Atriox's Dying Breath and Unbreakable is getting some work. Cassano's Hell Charge is getting some work, actually going to buff the Hell Charge to increase the radius. Classic Spartans are getting some significant work. Ground pound damage going from 1250 to 2200, and the impact from the fall off radius of their max AoE damage has been reduced by 70%, and they're also getting a speed buff, so going to go from speed 13 to speed 15. They just felt like they were too weak, which I would agree with. Glassing Beam's going to get some additional damage. Decimus, his Siphon, and Vortex are going to get some changes here. The Shroud, Siege Turret are also going to get some changes to cost. Those are going to go down. Hunter Captain, his lifesteal is going to be increased by 32%, which is interesting because I remember in a previous balance update they actually reduced that because they felt it was too strong. So interesting to see them bringing that back up. Arbiter's Enforcer drop is going to bring in 3 squads instead of 4. Wolverine is going to have reduced AoE splash damage against ground targets. Johnson's Bunker drop is no longer has a population requirement, which is really interesting, and a pretty good change if you ask me, although I think now we'll see those more prevalent than ever. Andrew's Beacon Sentinels are no longer going to provide line of sight, which I think is good. Kodiak's artillery damage to non-infantry targets is going to be increased, which is always good. Kodiak should be destroying vehicles and things like that. And then your Blisterback is going to go from a population 8 to a population 7 with a supply cost reduction from 700 to 600. So a ton of updates. Again, it didn't cover them all, just kind of browse through them and cover the main ones. But go check that forum post. It'll be linked down below. And again, we got YAPYAP on his way tomorrow, so just be patient with it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully it was beneficial for you, and I'm really excited. We'll have a bunch of content coming out over the next couple weeks with YAPYAP covering all the goodies that he's going to bring along. And obviously, as you know, if you're a fan of the channel, have been for a while, you know we're going to do a lot of Blitz, but we're also going to get into that multiplayer action as well. So stay tuned, and I'll keep you guys updated on the unfolding of events. If there's any changes to the update or the release, or if it's really starting to populate across the store, stay tuned to the channel and we'll let you know. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe. Follow us on Twitter. That link's in the description. We've still got the Average Gamer Guys Club, so join that on Xbox. And as always, leave your comments down below. Let us know how pumped and excited you are for this new final DLC season leader, and hopefully we should be getting some Awakening the Nightmare news coming very shortly as well. So I've been Doc with Average Gamer Guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.